Welcome to the Neural Implant Podcast, where we talk with the people behind the current events and breakthroughs in brain implants in an understandable way, helping bring together various fields involved in neuroprosthetics. Here is your host, Ladin Yurachek.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Neural Implant Podcast. Today's guest is actually not really in the field of neurotech or researcher or anything like this, but I have him on basically to talk about investing and in general being not an angel, but somebody who invests into these kinds of companies that eventually will become public. And so I wanted to get his perspective on what this looks like, what he's looking for. And who knows, maybe one day he'll look into neurotech as well. So Sergey Young, pleasure to have you on the show. Do you want to describe yourself a little bit?
Hi, Ladan. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I'm a man with a mission to change as many lives as possible by bringing affordable and accessible version of healthcare to the world. It's obviously in a field of not only work and a state of our body, but in the field of work and state of our mind and our brain. So that's how we met. And to do that, I've done a number of things. One is I founded Longevity Vision Fund, which invests in the science and technology of longevity and lifespan and health span extension. Second, I'm sponsoring development of Age Reversal X Prize. This is global technology competition to basically reverse aging measured by a set of biomarkers. And third, I wrote a book. It's called The Science and Technology of Growing Young. It's been an amazing 3 years journey. It's just been published and very well received. We already Wall Street Journal bestseller, USA Today bestseller, #1 Amazon bestseller in 3 categories. So I'm very pleased by the impact and the opportunity to spread the message around the world that I got from writing and publishing the book.
Yeah, very cool. Congratulations on their success. So what is the story? So why especially longevity? And then how did you get to start making a fund? How did you start to invest into companies that do this?
Majority of us become interested in longevity or in our own health after receiving a wake-up call. And that's the unfortunate reality. Like 80 or 90% of people around me who has the same interest went through a very difficult period of their life. And it's usually significant deterioration of their own health or the health of the people whom they love. And I had 2 cases. One was a lung cancer of my father back in 2005. He survived, but the quality of his life has never recovered. And for me, I'm genetically predisposed to have high cholesterol. I discovered that back in 2014, 7 years ago. And I had 2 choices. One is just to live on statins, which is a special class of drugs, which help you to lower your cholesterol level, or try to fight that through different means. So lifestyle changes, changing my diet, physical activity, supplements, routine as well. And it was so successful. I thought I can change the world. I can help people to implement this kind of changes in their own lives. And this is where the passion in longevity, this is where I discovered that. Then, because I'm an investor for the last 20 years, I thought the best way to support the space was to invest in that and support scientists and entrepreneurs in this field. So I've created relatively small $100 million Longevity Vision Fund. And it's been amazing. We started to work back in 2019. We already invested in 16 companies. But the most amazing part of my job is we're looking at 200 companies a year. So that's just like really amazing origination and information flow, which gives me really unique understanding of what is happening in the field. That's why I wrote the book. I just wanted to share it with everyone. And so this is the best part of my work, but the worst part of my work is saying no to 90% of the companies that we are looking at. And it's very unfortunate because there's so many great minds and great hearts working in the space. So I would love to support all of them. Unfortunately, investment activity doesn't support this paradigm.
Yeah, for sure. And so you said 200 companies per year. Of that, how many would you say that you fund?
Yeah, so every year we invest in roughly 8 to 10 companies.
Okay, so yeah, maybe a 4%, 5% success rate.
Something 4 to 5%. Yeah.
So what are you looking for, and what do you expect to see? You're a little bit later investment stage. Maybe they've already raised a Series B and they're about to IPO within a few years. But still, what are you looking for when a company comes to you?
So our mission is to bring very affordable version of healthcare to the world. So the first thing that we are looking at is about, does this technology or this scientific breakthrough has a potential to democratize access to healthcare or to solve in this particular health problem on a global scale? So for us, it's this affordability and accessibility aspect is a very important one. And I'm really proud that some of the companies that we have in our portfolio, they decrease the cost of the particular healthcare intervention or solution to a particular health problem by a factor of 10, 20, even 50. So that's just amazing to feel that. So I'm talking about affordable ultrasound devices that are 50 times less costly than ultrasound device in the hospital next door, or early cancer diagnostic when you pay for the box $100 or $200, and you have an opportunity to avoid much more invasive procedures and much more expensive procedures in the hospitals as well. Or we just invested in the organ regeneration company, which called Genesis, which use our lymph node to regrow organs inside our body. This is much cheaper and more efficient way if you compare it to organ transplantation that we have today. So that's one thing, which is affordability and accessibility. The other thing is more about actually intellectual property, because what is happening, aging is not disease today. So it's if you're working on fighting aging in its core, either on genetic level or epigenetic level or any other levels, it's just very difficult for you to protect your invention if you want. So for us, it's very important so that the company have a business model, has a discovery which can be protected in the current terms. So payback of our and their own investments can be guaranteed or facilitated or supported by these IP rights as well. And don't worry, it's not really conflicting with affordability and accessibility aspect, because all of these IPs, they have their particular term, and like in drug development, you hold exclusive license for this particular drug or this particular invention for 10 or 12 years, and then it's becoming generic. It's available to the whole world. It's very affordable price. This is great. And third thing for us really is partnerships that this company is building and this group of people is building. We have our due diligence usually is probably around 2 months. So it's just really not sufficient to check all dimensions of the future success. And what we're looking at is what kind of partnerships in the very broad terms these people, these entrepreneurs, this company built along the way. And it's intentionally broad definition of partnership. Who are the group of people they partner with in terms of the scientists or academic institutions, or what is the rotation inside the core management team within the company? Have they been able to retain the talent inside organization, or do they have big pharma partnership or medical devices producer partnership, or who are their partners, investors who invest with them? Are they following on every next round? So that's very important. It's for us is a great snapshot of how these people and how this company will be able to build more partnerships as a part of their success story in the future.
Yeah, very interesting. So if I can summarize it, it sounds like you basically need a technology that's not just a little bit better. It's maybe, let's say, 10 times better, 10x better. You need to have protection. You need to have intellectual property protection that nobody else will take it. And then they need to be good citizens. They need to be good citizens in their field, and that people like them. People don't run away when they hear about them. Just be a good person with great technology. That's easy, right?
Yeah, in simple terms, yes.
Yeah. Very cool. And so how do you measure success in a fund?
So, basically for us is what we discussed is this level of democratization, like decrease of the cost of, particular intervention or cost of solving any particular disease or health problem. So that's for us is one. Second, we're trying to attract more investments into our field. So we have very inclusive way of investing. And one of our mission is to bring as many other investors and players into the field. So longevity and longevity technology investment field is one of the less competitive I've ever worked with. People always say, even if I lose on money on all of my investments, but someone else will discover something which would extend our health span and lifespan, I will win anyway. So again, it's simplification, but that's the premise. So we're very collaborative. And the second thing that we're looking at is just number of investments and amount of money which is going into longevity R&D every year. And it tends to grow every year. And I do hope that it's us and some other players and funds and investors who just playing like a role modeling for everyone else who wants to discover the beautiful world of longevity or improving our health, but also trying to support people who are making change on a global scale.
Yeah, interesting. I've heard that you say that this longevity is very easy to raise another fund, because I've heard that always people are looking for more money. And I've heard that VC funds or these venture or these investment funds, they have it the hardest out of everybody. If you think raising money as an entrepreneur or as an academician, a professor is hard, wait until you become an investor, because that's 10 times harder. Do you want to describe this process a little bit, just briefly? What does it take to raise a new fund and to get more money in order for you to invest? What's involved?
Yeah, it's particularly difficult in longevity field because remember what we discussed in the beginning, that aging is not disease. So you couldn't really develop something and then protect this. So we tend to invest in a viable biotech and medical devices and tech plays which have longevity or improvement of the health span as a side effect. Like in history of medicine, so many things has been discovered as a side effect of people working on solving completely different problem. This is what we're doing in terms of our investment thesis and investment strategies. Having said that, longevity as a sector is heavily underfunded today. So if you look at cancer, for example, cancer R&D, investment into oncology is anywhere between $80 and $100 billion every year. So that's a lot. Investment in longevity R&D or fighting age-related diseases R&D is anywhere between $2 and $4 billion. So it's like literally 2 or 4% of the cancer. While we all know that our chances to die from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and neurodegenerative diseases, and this is 90% of deaths after the age of 50, increase exponentially. So aging is much more fundamental risk factor that we need to work with. Unfortunate reality, the current regulation is structured in a way that it's disease by disease rather than retaining more integrative, more comprehensive view on the human biology and how we age and how we need to manage our health. So we're still in the beginning of development of longevity technology investment as a sector. So every opportunity or every task to raise money for that is pretty difficult. And I do think I was just lucky by working in the field of investment for the last 20 years. So I had relationship with investors already. They haven't seen me first time when I was raising the Longevity Vision Fund, the first $100 million vehicle that we created back in 2019. I do think without that, it would have been very difficult to raise this fund and be successful in this area. But things are changing. Like 3 years ago, people were laughing when they heard that, well, Sergey, you're doing a fund investment in longevity. It doesn't really exist in regulatory or in a viable economic context. Literally in the last 12, 18 months, partly because of COVID, partly not, we get a lot of requests from big pharma companies, medical device producers, biotech investors who are just saying, Sergey, this is very interesting. So we have these beautiful assets, like it can be a portfolio of drugs or different technologies that they patented. And so you will help us to discover the positive side effects of our portfolio in the context of longevity or improvement of human lifespan and health span. So that's a change that I've seen in our space in the last 2 to 3 years. So raising the fund is, and we've been always looking at that through the lenses of one disease. can we guys have a partnership with you with Longevity Vision Fund? Can you invest in us? It's on one side, there's a series of conversation that you have with investors, but obviously it's a funnel. So you have, I don't know, 50 dialogues, and then you have 5 to 10 people who want to invest in you. And that's the case. But obviously you need to have a track record, investment track record before. You need to have a great scientist on board. So we have amazing scientific advisory board. That's extremely important. You need to have a great team outside the scientific board as well. So it should be investment professional, similar enough to work in biotech, but different enough to provide, diversity of perspectives on that. You need to have a relationship and build a partnership with the companies and with co-investors as well. Because as very new people in the field, it took us quite a while to build relationship with the biggest biotech funds and get into the most competitive rounds. So we've done that, but obviously it's just a lot of hard work.
Yeah, definitely. Kissing a lot of babies and shaking a lot of hands.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So guys, this has been very interesting. I've really enjoyed this. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to mention? Maybe you want to talk about your book a little bit?
Yes, the structure of the book is about horizons that we're going to see in terms of the development of longevity technologies. So now is the time when we can benefit a lot from the current technologies, early cancer diagnostic or use of artificial intelligence in diagnostic as well, or wearables like a personalized healthcare devices. So that's important. The main body of the book is about technologies within the near horizon of longevity innovation. And it's gene editing and gene therapy, organ regeneration, similar to Genesis company story that I described today. Longevity in the pill, I'm talking about completely different class of drugs, which are going to be focused on fighting aging rather than particular diseases. So that's all of these technologies will be available to us in the next 10 to 20 years. But it's very important to start your health action plan. Take back responsibility for your own mental and physical health today, because you want to stay on longevity bridge. You want your body and mind and your brain to be worth extending its resource in 10, 20 years from now. And final part of the book is about a long-term future. It's 25 to 50 years from now. It sounds like sci-fi. I'm talking about the world of human avatars, Internet of bodies, similar to Internet of Things. We all going to be interconnected. We're going to be full of sensors. I'm talking about human brain, AI integration, or man and machine becoming one, redefining humans, nanobots flowing in our blood and taking care of the cancer cells and measuring and monitoring level of our health. So this is all great. I'm waiting for this with combination of excitement and fear. And there's so many ethical questions that we would need to solve before we embrace that. But otherwise, the book is just a good overview of where it's all going with longevity. And the main message, guys, we're all going to be living longer or radically longer than we expect. And it's time to rethink so many things in the field of science, in the field of technology, in the field of our personal finances, career planning, family planning, life planning. It's a fascinating subject. And I do think it's just opportunity to reflect on your own life and number of years that you think you're going to be living on this planet, and take sometimes really different approaches in terms of your long-term thinking and your short-term choices. So the book, go to sergeyyoung.com. We have an amazing offer which goes with the book. So you can get for free like Longevity Video Academy in 10 videos, 10 minutes each. I'm talking about different longevity technologies. But otherwise, stay healthy and happy. And just remember that it's a great opportunity to change your life, starting from making small changes and staying on a longevity bridge, starting from tomorrow morning.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a really good message. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hope you enjoyed the show and were able to learn something new, bringing together different fields in novel ways. Until next time on the Neural Implant Podcast.